Hey team, today's episode is brought to you by Fastmail. Private, secure, ad-free, I love those three things, email hosting that's lightning fast. Packages start from less than $4 a month and you can grab a free 30-day trial plus get 15% off your first year over at fastmail.com/Timbo. We're also made possible thanks to 52ways.biz, that's B-I-Z, a free one-day live event that's filling up very fast, hosted by small business expert Dale Beaumont. For business owners who want more sales, who want to grow, grab your free tickets over at 52ways.biz before it's too late. Today's guest started off selling makeup at the Clarins counter in a large department store. It was there she identified a rather large gap in the market. She filled that gap with a business called Adore Beauty, laying the foundation for Australia's largest online retailer of beauty products. Let's go and find out how she did it. See what I did with the word foundation?
Well, I said, welcome to a small business marketing show where successful small business owners share their souls to take your marketing straight to the lead. Now, here's your host, Mr. Timbo Reid.
And welcome back to the Small Business Big Marketing Show, Australia's #1 marketing podcast, also found on Virgin Airlines around the world. I am your host, Timbo Reid. You, infinitely more importantly, are a motivated business owner and you're ready to crank out some great marketing to build that beautiful business of yours into the empire it deserves to be. That's what we're going to do right now. Big show today. Adore Beauty founder Kate Morris shares how she's built Australia's biggest online beauty retailer, only to sell it to Australia's biggest supermarket chain, only to buy it back again. Stick with me. It's complicated, but it's exciting. Hey, resident tech expert Dale Beaumont shares another productivity tool. I share another low-cost marketing idea. We go back into the vault, revisiting a past episode with a gold medal Olympian. Oh, boy. As per usual, team, there is marketing GOLD dripping from the ceiling over here at Small Business Big Marketing's HQ. So let's get stuck right in.
Life just got a whole lot easier.
Hi, it's Dale Beaumont here from 52ways.biz, the best one-day business workshop ever, with another productivity tool to make your business life a whole lot easier. So what is the tool I've got to share with you today? It's called DialPad, and DialPad is a cloud-based phone system. Now, if you're running your own business, you of course need an email address and a phone number. Now, at the beginning, a lot of people give out their mobile phone number, which is okay for the first few weeks or months, but after a while, that's not a good idea. You're going to be getting calls at all different times of the day, and you're going to be oftentimes too busy to get back to people. That's where a team comes in. So what you need to do is actually set up an office phone number. Now, in the past, you had to invest a lot of money in expensive hardware, in phones that would sit on desks, and also cabling, which could cost anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000 to set up. Well, not anymore, thanks to a great new system called DialPad. Basically, now you can use your computer and your phone, things you already have, and you can turn it into a phone system. It really is a great tool, and you can find out more by coming along to one of our live events. There you go. I told you life would get a whole lot easier. This has been Dale Beaumont from 52ways.biz. Now, back to you, Timbo.
Life just got a whole lot easier.
Thanks, Dale. Love it, mate. We are building up quite an arsenal of productivity tools thanks to Dale Beaumont. Headline Analyzer, Hotjar, Flipboard, About Me, a whole lot more. You can find them all over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com inside the blog. Hey, if you're loving what Dale's sharing, then you are really going to love his upcoming live event. 8 hours of solid business building gold, and they're happening all around Australia and into New Zealand, starting in May, going through to about August, September. And you can grab a free ticket for you and a mate or two now over at 52ways. That's 52ways.biz. Coming up, I share another low-cost marketing idea that your staff are going to love you for. But first, a big thank you to past guest Scott Kilmartin for introducing me to today's successful business owner, who is none other than Kate Morris, the founder of Adore Beauty, which is Australia's largest online retailer of beauty products. Now, we cover a lot of ground as Kate explains how she's built an empire, why she sold part of that empire to Australia's biggest supermarket brand only to buy it back again, why opening a bricks and mortar store was the wrong move, and why ensuring the Adore Beauty brand doesn't shine too bright. Interesting. Counterintuitive, some would say. And so much more. I started off by getting Kate to explain the importance of makeup. Now, I'm a bloke, I don't get makeup, right?
Sure.
But it's pretty important, isn't it?
It's a thing, you know. I think a lot of women are using it even more than fashion nowadays as a way of expressing themselves, as a way of feeling confident when they get out of bed every morning. You know, you're not quite you until you got your lippy on. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah, it's amazing. And a rather large industry. What would the industry be worth in Australia?
In Australia, prestige cosmetics is worth about $1.6 billion.
Ah, prestige. What about non-prestige?
So then there's, if you add also
how many billion?
1.6 billion.
1.6 billion, yeah.
So that's just for the premium high-end brands, and then if you also add all of the, the mass and supermarket brands as well.
Go on, say it.
No, it's not crap. No. It's budget options, budget-friendly options.
There you go. Love it.
And then I think it's, about 4 billion?
Wow.
So, yeah, it's a lot of makeup.
How much of that have you got your paws on?
Oh, we got our paws on a little bit.
How much?
Yeah, we're doing all right.
Yeah. 0.01%, it'd be good.
Well, that's the thing. There's always good opportunity in this market.
Kate, I'm going to ask you about your numbers later on, so you're going to have to do better than that.
No, that's all right.
1999.
Yeah.
You're 21.
Yeah.
The internet's kind of not a thing.
Well, it's just starting to be a thing. Yeah.
No social media.
No smartphones, no broadband.
You're doing law. You're working at the Clarins counter in a department store.
Correct.
No network, no money.
No.
What did you know or see that others didn't?
Look, people ask me that a lot. I think what I saw at the time was that, because I was working in the department store counters, and that was really what I loved. It was just so much fun. Even though I had to wear, a stupid outfit. And
it's not a bad outfit, the Clarins, from memory. White
it used
and
to be
a red
pretty,
shoe?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad back then anyway. But I loved makeup. That was a thing that, for me was a really feel-good purchase. But a lot of the women that I talked to, like particularly when I explained what I did for my part-time job, a lot of them would kind of pull this face and say, oh, God, I hate going in there. It's the worst. There's people trying to jump on you and spray perfume on you and upsell you things, and, then you get home and realise you bought all these things you didn't want, and I hate going in there. And I thought, well, that doesn't make any sense. It's a product that's supposed to make you feel brilliant. Mm-hmm. And the shopping experience is making people feel the opposite. And to me, that just didn't make any sense. And I thought, well, obviously someone's going to do beauty online here in Australia. And I kind of sat around for about 6 months waiting for somebody else to do it. And it honestly never occurred to me that I was going to start a business myself. My parents are social workers. I was going to go to uni, I was going to study hard, and I was going to get a good job. And my boyfriend at the time actually said to me, look, are you just going to keep talking about this or what? I thought, yeah, rightio. Well, no, I don't have any, money or connections or anything like that, but someone has to do it, and why not me?
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that boyfriend now your husband, or is he?
He is.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yes, well, we're not married, but yes.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Really, at 21, did you really have the smarts? You're studying law, so Dumbo, but did you have the smarts to really sit back and go, no one is enjoying the experience of buying makeup, even in a big department store? Or
look, I don't know whether I really, sort of enunciated it in those terms, and not in the way that people do now. They're like, hey, this is a market ripe for disruption. Nobody was saying the word disruption in 1999, I can assure you. But to me, it's just, it seemed obvious that people would want to buy beauty online because, A, you'd be able to get all the brands you wanted wherever you lived. And I'm from Tassie originally, and, you couldn't get anything.
Nothing.
It's kind of a depressing, situation on the shopping front in
Hello
Tasmania.
to all you Taswegians.
Hello, Taswegians. This is for you. And so, to me, it was an absolute no-brainer that beauty online was going to be a thing at some point. And I thought, well, if someone's going to do it, then why not me? As you think when you're 21.
So you go through the process. I can imagine getting a website back then's hard. There's no Shopify. You do all that kind of stuff.
Everything's bespoke, yeah.
Bespoke, totally.
Yeah.
From scratch.
From scratch. And when I say scratch, as in like pretty much the equivalent of stone tablet scratch.
Chiseling out a website.
That was it.
Unreal. But what a great way to cut your teeth, right? Because would I be right in saying that, the easiest way to start an e-commerce site today, well, eBay or Etsy,
yeah.
or go to Shopify and build something not bespoke at all, you're not going to learn as much.
Well, no. I guess I was kind of forced into learning a bit of coding, kind of against my will, but at least now I know how things work, and I know from a technical standpoint if somebody's trying it on, and you do get a bit of that when you run a beauty business. People assume you're an idiot on that front. Or they try and talk to my partner when things get a bit technical. And I say, no, thank
Go
you.
to the man, do they?
Yeah, they do a little bit. Yeah,
the assumed code monkey is male.
Yeah.
Hey, so you build this thing, Adore Beauty is launched. Was there a moment when you've looked at partner? What's his name?
James.
If you looked at James, you're going, I think we're onto something.
Look, I don't know that there was ever that moment. It was a very, very slow and gradual thing, and I think certainly there wasn't acceptance from the beauty industry. Approaching brands at that point and saying the future of beauty is online, they all said, no, thank you very much. Don't let the door hit you on the way
because
out.
You don't have your own brand. You are basically a drop shipper.
We're a reseller, yes. So we're a retailer, and so because cosmetics is a very brand-oriented thing.
Massive.
And so you have to have the brands that your customers are looking for. That's really what it's all about. But yes, there wasn't a lot of acceptance at first, but some of my first customers were actually from the US because they'd adopted online shopping much quicker over there, and we had a couple of really obscure Australian brands that they were like, oh, what's this? Yeah, go on. And the dollar was at 52 cents back then. So so we got a few early adopters over there, and they loved it, and I guess that kind of encouraged me a little bit. And as we started to get some customers in Australia, the response was really great from consumers that was sort of going, hey, look, if you could get brands X, Y, and Z, this would be fantastic. I'd never have to go into a department store again. Please, can you get these brands?
Wow, they hated it that much.
Oh, a lot of people really do.
What is it? Let's talk department stores then, because do they get it?
Look, I don't like to slag anybody off. I just
no
think,
one is listening, Kate. It's you and I. What do you think of department stores?
Look, I think that traditional way of shopping probably suits some customers. And the way that, when I was a teenager, the way that you learned about beauty was to go into a department store and be sat down at a counter and receive education as if you were a student or a patient. And this was the way it was done. And you then bought everything from that same brand, and you were then a customer of that brand, and that's how you'd go on, presumably for the rest of your life. But customers, they don't shop that way anymore.
No.
They're not interested in being spoken to that way anymore. They don't want to be a student or a patient. They don't want to be given permission to buy something. Yes, you can have this. No, you can't. And I think that model of doing things, that single brand model, puts a lot of friction in between customers being able to cherry pick the very best products for them, because no one brand's going to have all the perfect products for you. You might like a moisturiser from this brand and a mascara from that brand.
I mix and match.
I know. So you change your lipstick with your foundation. That's totally okay. But I think, yes, the beauty industry has been very much trying to funnel customers down one particular route, and what we're all about is saying,
Giving them
well,
options.
we're going to give you all the options, and instead of forcing you to buy one particular brand and doing our marketing in that way, then it's much more about creating content that's educational and that is actually going to help you work out whether or not this product is going to suit you.
Hold that thought, because I know you're a content-making machine, or Adore Beauty is a content-making machine. Just on brand, because, You've come from a beauty background. Beauty, the industry knows branding like no other industry because you're selling you're selling hope.
Yeah.
You are selling the dream.
Yeah.
A brand is an emotional attachment.
Yeah.
What do you know about branding and how have you brought it in to build Adore Beauty?
It's interesting. We've kind of had to almost be, to keep our brand quite vanilla and neutral and in the background and because we have so many strong and powerful brands in our stable. I mean, we have 170 different brands and we have brands that are all the way from the very sort of premium and French like, like Lancôme and those sorts of brands. And then you've also got really irreverent and funky and cool brands like
so they've
like
got
Benefit.
to do all the talking. Adore Beauty is just a platform.
Well, like we like to, I guess, keep our brand not in the background, but sort of so that it sits comfortably alongside any of those other brands because I don't want our brand to be so, irreverent and over the top that it means that it jars. It's important for me that our customers feel confident to buy whatever particular cosmetic brand floats their boat or appeals to them. Some people do like
That's really
the very premium and heavy glass jar type moisturisers and we need Adore Beauty to be a suitable place where they can go and buy that. I mean, fashion is very different. Fashion, you have to speak directly to a tribe, I think, and if you don't do that, you will tend to sort of alienate everybody. But there are a lot of fashion stores that I could walk into, for instance, and I'm 39 and, you could say, right, well, it's clearly telling me that this store is not for me.
I don't belong here.
I do not belong here. This is not for you. And I guess with Adore Beauty, we serve customers anywhere from 18 to 70. We need to be very welcoming.
That sounds like a really difficult brand challenge to stand for something but not stand for something to the point that you are going to be noticed above the brands that you represent.
That's it. So I guess we try and position Adore Beauty as being your really beauty knowledgeable best friend. The sort of person that, Adore Beauty is the sort of person where you'd say, right, I don't know what moisturiser to get, but Adore Beauty will know.
Okay. So you've taken an educator's role. You are that. You're sort of like the person at the Clarins counter, but you're not representing Clarins. You're representing whatever's going to work for that particular person who's walked in.
Well, I think that's what retailers really need to be doing to try and add value is to not point customers in any one direction, say you need to go over here, but more, hey, tell me what you need today. Tell me what you're all about. And then I can totally help you with that. We have 857 different moisturisers. Guarantee we're going to have one that's exactly right for you.
I want to talk more about customer experience and marketing because you do a lot of that.
Sure.
But into the journey of launching Adore Beauty and growing it to something sizable, 170 brands.
Yeah.
How many SKUs?
I haven't actually gone and done a count lately, but it would be between 13 and 14,000.
Wow. Turnover?
Look, we're on a run rate at the moment of around 30 million.
Nice, a year.
Yeah.
You proud?
Yeah, look, for me.
On a run rate of 30 mil?
No, it's good. It's good. It's really good. And it's been a big growth in the last 2 or 3 years particularly.
Why?
I think it's been a combination of the market being ready for it. I think timing is often everything. And for us to having all our ducks in a row at the right time in terms of having the brand selections that our customer wants.
Was there a moment when e-commerce became really accepted amongst the general populace? Because there's always going to be the early adopters.
Sure. Look, I think that started happening around 2008, 2009, but it happened when the Australian dollar hit parity with the US, which was a big problem in the cosmetics industry because the big brand houses here in Australia were not used to having to adjust their prices downwards.
Ooh.
Like doing it.
Their margins went from 500% to
Well, that's right, because they'd been sitting
things.
on the same pricing since the dollar was at 52 cents. And I think they it took a lot of jumping up and down from the
Right.
retailer's point of view, not just us, but all the department stores as well, to say, look, you can't be selling things at double the price in the US. It doesn't work. We can't. I can't make a sale on that basis. And so that was a really difficult time for us. We had a really hard time trying to get that growth because you're competing with, international retailers selling into Australia at half the price.
Do they, the 170 brands that you have in store,
Yep.
do they love you or do they accept you as being a necessary evil?
They're all at varying stages of that.
Grow up.
Look, I think, yes,
What do
ones
the ones who hate you think? Hate's a big word.
there are some that wish things hadn't changed, that wish it, that it was the old way, and because they got how to work with department stores and they got how to do marketing on their counters, and the world being different is challenging for a lot of people. A lot of people aren't used to change and they don't like it very much. And I guess the concept of a world where you can't restrict customers from shopping across brands and it just means that your products have to be better. That's a big challenge for a lot of brands,
gotcha.
I think. Yeah,
Gotcha.
it's a
Particularly
little bit
brands that have
scary.
been around for a long time, and
course.
you're dealing with
Of
some.
course.
15 years in, you go and sell to the biggest supermarket chain in Australia, in Woolworths.
25% we did.
25%.
Yeah.
Happy days.
Yes.
Hey,
Yeah.
how was that little boardroom meeting?
No, I actually found them fantastic to work with. It was great.
Yeah, say
Yeah.
off to the races. 25%.
Wasn't quite like that. No, it was an investment to try and grow the business.
Right.
And yes, definitely achieved
They
that
approach
end.
you, or you approach them?
No, we sort of met through mutual acquaintances.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just started chatting, and it sort of seemed like a sensible idea.
So off to the races, sort of, bit of dough to grow the business, but shortly thereafter you buy it back.
2 years later, yes.
2 years later?
Yes.
Did an Ellen Bond, Kerry Packer type thing. Hey? Sell high, buy low.
It certainly wasn't in what we'd originally planned. But look, I guess, I think our sort of paths had diverged somewhat in those 2 years, and, there'd been a lot of changes, and we just thought, this was probably really good alignment at the time that we did the original deal, and then 2 years later it was perhaps less so, and it didn't make as much sense, and we thought, right, well...
A couple of difficult conversations later.
No,
No? It was all cool?
It wasn't difficult. No, it was fine. It was
It's not me, it's you.
what would
It's you, it's me.
Well, that's what would Gwyneth say. What did she call it? Oh, I've lost it now.
Who's this?
Gwyneth.
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yes. When she split with Chris Martin, and it's going to come to me after this thing. What did she say? That's the one.
A conscious uncoupling. I love it.
Yes, that was.
Goodness me.
That was pretty much it.
Do you know, past guest has sold product to Gwyneth Paltrow. Aprons, actually. So that's
yes.
the second time she's been mentioned
Well, there
in
you go.
360 episodes. I must get her in.
Well, that's right. Well, she's quite the entrepreneur herself.
She
a
is.
marketing queen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, I will get her in.
Yeah.
Little trip to New York. And,
Go on.
Hey?
Send her an email.
Hey, listeners, I'm talking to Kate Morris, who is the founder of Adore Beauty. Would I say the largest online beauty retailer in Australia?
You can definitely say that.
Well done. Now, Kate, I know that you love challenging the conventions of your industry, empowering customers, and because one of the things you don't get to see your customers, so how,
Not face to face,
not
no.
face to face. But how are you challenging these conventions, and how are you developing an emotional attachment to them?
Look, I think it's all about really getting tuned into what they're all excited about. And nowadays, the beauty consumer, like particularly your millennials, they're so... I mean, they're the ones that are bringing us the trends, honestly. If any...
Don't get me started. I own 3 of them.
Well, they're fantastic because they're so, they're so involved in kind of directing the conversation. And I guess from our perspective, we don't see it as, we're, delivering, that we're kind of delivering edicts to them or telling them what they should buy. I mean, they're telling us, what they want to buy.
By buying.
Well, by what they buy, by actually emailing us and telling us, or social media obviously is massive. So yes, every Instagram post that we do will have half a dozen people jumping on it and saying, "Hey, why haven't you got this product in yet? And when are you getting such and such?" And well, that's right. And as a retailer, I think a lot of retailers have lost that sight of the fact that, the customer does own you. And,
Do they?
Well, I think so. Mm-hmm. I mean,
it's an interesting
if you're
question.
doing it right.
Well, it's the $64 million question. Is the customer right? Or I had Gelato Messino, the owner of Declan Lee of Gelato Messino, in a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
His whole thing, one core value that runs the whole business is honesty, right?
Yes.
And you go, that's a bit of a wank. I've heard core values between one and, come on, get over it.
Yeah.
But it plays out in many ways, but one of them is that he gives his staff permission to be incredibly honest with customers.
Yes.
And if a customer comes in and is a dick in store, the staff member can go, "You're being a dick in store. Can you please not? Can you please," whatever.
Oh, 100%. Oh, look, I'm not of the school that, the customer is always right and everything the customer wants you must give them. I mean, obviously...
So what school are you from?
I'm from the school that if you're a retailer and you're not making every single decision based on will this or will this not deliver extra value to my consumer, then you are making decisions the wrong way.
Beautiful.
It's not about... Yeah, I mean, look, and I think there are a lot of American companies, like Zappos or whatever, they've got that whole customer service philosophy where if you phone their customer service line and want a pizza, that they will help you with that. And it's
They will. They might buy
if you
it
phone
for
my
you.
customer service line, they'll say, "I'm sorry, I can't help you with that. Were there any beauty related things that that you need? Because this is what we specialise in. We're not here to be your personal concierge. We are here to be your beauty best friend, and that's what we do."
Mm-hmm.
So it's having a clear idea of what you do, but then from then on, listening to your customers properly, listening properly, even if it's things that you don't want to hear. I think, there are a lot of businesses that don't, that maybe don't ask for customer opinion as much as they should.
Well, past guest, and in fact wrote the forward to my book, Jay Bayer, says hug your haters.
Absolutely.
He's written a whole book on it.
Yes.
And you can't learn. You kind of learn from people who go, love your work.
Yes.
Because you're onto something.
Yes.
You could really learn from someone who says, don't really love your work because you could do this better.
Yes.
And then you go, thank you. So how do you, I get it, what you just said, totally agree.
Yeah.
Everyone listening probably agrees, but how do you actually listen?
Yeah.
And how do you know what to listen to and what to put aside?
Oh, sure. So every single customer that orders from us the first time receives a little welcome pack in their order, which has a letter from me that explains what we're all about and invites them to, come and share their experiences with us on our social channels. So they're given a whole bunch of sort of listening ears right there and say, hey, come and talk to us about how your order was. Take a picture, an Adore Beauty Hall picture of your first order. Nice. We want to see how it all was. And then you get your second order, you get another email from me saying, hey, thank you so much for coming back again. That's brilliant. Can you answer just 3 questions about your order for us, or about your experience with us so far? What did you like? How do you think we could do things better? Are there any products you wish we had that we don't have? And the responses to that survey, it's not like we sort of collate them and look at them every 6 months and get a report out. They're actually fed in real time into our Slack channels. So Slack is like a company sort of messaging, if you imagine like sort of Skype chat, but internally, and so they're all fed directly into the organisation. So the ones with the brand request, for instance, gets fed and alerted straight to our buying team, so they know always.
Wow,
what customers
real time.
want. Real time.
You know that second email that goes out after the second purchase? Mm-hmm. Can they hit reply?
Yeah.
Oh, that excites me.
Yeah. Oh, I hate no reply emails. I think that is so offensive. It's like you can email me and I can't talk back to it. How rude.
Yeah, no reply in capital letters.
It's the worst. It's the actual worst. I can't. I think it's. There's no excuse for it.
I'm loving Adore Beauty. You seem to have a little hand on the pulse of the customer. You're constantly testing and feeling how they're feeling.
Yes, and I think that's that's why we've been able to actually survive for this long with all of the evolution of, to start from the days of dial-up and no smartphones and no social and evolve to where we are now and continue to be the biggest. I mean, the idea that we're doing better online than these much more entrenched department store behemoths. I mean, it's obscene. We shouldn't be able to do it.
It is obscene. It's weird, isn't it? Because they have got so much more influence, so much more money, so much more resources.
So much more power. And what do we have? Nothing.
And yet they're struggling. I don't know. I always want to get... the premise of a guest here is that I get small business owners on, but I think I may need to start getting big business owners on, and instead of saying, what are you doing right, like, how can you not get it so right? How can you get it so wrong?
Yes. But I think the way that we've been able to do that is to be willing to try new things all the time, particularly from a marketing point of view.
Okay.
We don't have the budgets to be doing, glossy magazine ads or TVCs. I mean, we can't afford to do it. So we have to just try and invent other stuff that
$30
is cheaper.
million turnover, Kate. I mean, come on, you could run the odd ad.
Oh, no way. Oh, you know what? We tried it one time.
Didn't work? How many times have I heard that?
Ridiculous.
Tell me about trying new things. Do you really is that part of your culture, which is...
Definitely.
Yeah?
Definitely, yes. Well, one of our core values is that we have the... No. Stay awake. Stay with me. Is that we have the courage to fail. So we figure that if we're not failing a lot, then we probably aren't trying enough new things. And it's really, for me, about trying to set up a culture where nobody gets in trouble for trying something that doesn't work out. So the way that we approach everything is like, okay, well, we're making an experiment. How are we going to test it? And sometimes that means that you have to think a bit harder. You can't just jump straight into doing something and say, right, we're going to change the entire website, or, because we think it will be better. Because, you know what, sometimes you're wrong. And we've learnt that.
Was there a moment, you got to tell me, was there a moment where you've just looked at a staff member and go, look, I know I say there's no such thing as getting it wrong, but did you really do that?
The only time I will ever care about you getting it wrong is if you spent too much money or it took too long.
Uh-huh.
Or you did it and you didn't have any way to measure whether or not it worked. That's the only time I'll ever have a problem with it. Yeah. If you've done it in a way that is the cheapest you can think of and the quickest you can think of, and you've been able to measure the results and you can tell me whether or not it worked, all good. Go nuts. Go for your life.
Fairly good criteria.
Well, I think so.
I was at a friend's house the other day. Her daughter got the old knock on the door, post had arrived. It's actually not the postman anymore. It's like DHL or whoever.
Yeah.
Box, unwraps it. It's a whole lot of beauty stuff. Actually, at that point, didn't know I was going to be interviewing you. Mm-hmm. Can't remember whether it was a door or not.
Oh, I hope so.
But her daughter, she's 16 years old. Mm-hmm. She sat at that kitchen counter. It was just a magical moment for her. And for me, the marketing guy, just kind of watching from a distance, trying not to be weird, staring at this 16-year-old girl. But she just unwrapped everything to within an inch of its life slowly and looked at each thing and felt each thing and even smelt the box.
Isn't that fantastic? See, that's how beauty is supposed to make you feel. You should be able to open that purchase with the excitement of a kid on Christmas morning. That's how it's supposed to be. And so the idea that anybody found it, intimidating or unpleasant was just, to me, offensive.
How do you make that? What do you do to encourage that experience when something gets delivered?
Look, I think there's actually a lot of great opportunities to do that in unboxing.
It is a thing, isn't it?
Oh yes. Unboxing videos. I mean, YouTube is just full of them. So look, you've got a lot of opportunities there. I mean, we do a lot of value adding in terms of giving customers opportunities to try things. So every order gets 2 free samples in the box, and we also frequently have, every week we will have sort of the little deluxe trial product of the week. So if you spend over a certain amount, you get to redeem a code and get that, so you get like another little thing to try. And then we'll quite regularly have our famous goodie bags, which is where you'll get like a little multi-brand show bag of usually sort of 6 little minis, and it comes in a really gorgeous Adore Beauty travel case, and there'll usually be 3 that you can choose from. And it's a great way for our customers to actually experiment with brands that maybe they never would have tried otherwise. So it's all those little things that you can do to just kind of, insert that little squeeze feeling when you...
That's it. That's exactly what it
Yes.
was. You know, as you describe that experience, I'm thinking you don't have to be an online beauty retailer to deliver that kind of value and that excitement.
no.
I just wonder why we don't go to the vet or visit our accountant or go to other places and have other experiences like that.
Yeah. I think that is a shame. I think there are a few retailers that are doing a really good job of that. Nespresso, for instance, one I really
Great.
like. I love that, because and to me that's a really good example of bricks and mortar retail where they've recognised what the opportunity is for creating an experience.
Yep.
I mean, in my opinion, if you're doing bricks and mortar retail, like it's got to be better than online because it can't be more convenient,
Sure.
So it's not just about actually having stuff on a shelf that people can go in and purchase. It's about how are you going to create an experience for them? How are you going to give them something that they can't possibly get online? So, yes, when you go into the Nespresso store and there's,
Unreal.
your poster of George Clooney and everybody's dressed immaculately
Yeah.
and they've got their little coffee bar. And even after you've bought the coffee, they'll still say, can we make you a coffee today, ma'am?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh,
Why
yeah,
not?
all right, yeah, go
Why
on.
not?
And, and I think that's fantastic.
There's a lot
I mean,
we can
it's-
learn from, I think, both you, what you're doing, and what companies like Nespresso are doing, because
Yes.
it's all about experience.
Yes.
You had a bricks and mortar store from
We did briefly.
2004 to 2011,
Correct.
closed.
Yes.
Why?
Look, at the time in 2004, it was still incredibly difficult for us to get brands on board, for them to get their heads around the idea that a business could be online and that wasn't weird or dodgy. And so some of them would be like, oh, yes, we'd be okay to be on your website, but you have to have a store. And so
okay.
we went, okay, fine.
Did it for
fine.
Okay.
So it was very, very small. It was about 25 square metres in North Carlton
Okay.
on Nicholson Street. And so it was really just to kind of
So it was to
tick
appease.
that
It was to
box.
appease the supplier more than it was to.
That was it.
Wrong thing, right?
Well, exactly. I mean, how it made any difference to any of our customers that were shopping from, Tasmania or Canberra
Yeah.
or Queensland or wherever, I mean, it made no difference at all. Nevertheless, it just made things a bit easier for a while, and so...
I had the girls on from Spell and the Gypsy Collective, which
yeah.
is the Byron Bay
Yep.
fashion label. They have they're doing $20 million. I'm going to say a year. Can't be a month. They're big. They're big, right?
Yeah.
Not as big as you, but they've got an outlet in Byron.
Yes.
And that's become a flagship. It's become a destination.
Sure.
People come from overseas
Yes.
to visit their store.
Yes.
If you were to do it again, would
Yes.
you create more of a kind of destination flagship experience?
Yes, I think so, if we were to do that
Would you?
again. I don't know, maybe. I think again, there'd have to be, I mean, with 170 different brands, it would be very difficult for us
Yes.
to actually get, I mean, that would be a huge footprint to have every single one of them on display.
Maybe you don't have to.
Well, maybe you don't have to, I don't know. Maybe if we did it, it would be more like a discovery centre or something like that.
Nice.
I don't know. But for me, it was still, I mean, it's a very crowded market in terms of bricks and mortar at the moment.
And expensive.
And I guess I'd have to see a pretty compelling reason for doing it.
I was going to say, let's talk marketing. I think we have been.
Haven't we?
But like in terms of, you do a lot of content marketing. I like
We
to
do.
think I call it helpful marketing.
Yes.
What's the best marketing that you do?
Look, we have our beauty blog, which is called Beauty IQ, which I guess represents, that this is the way that you can get smarter about beauty, make better decisions and enjoy it more, therefore. And so we have a full-time blogger who all she does is write posts.
What a lovely luxury.
Oh, yeah. It's a great job. And photographers as well and makeup artists. And so just about every day we're shooting. And it's not always one of the things that we've discovered that customers love the most is just swatches. In the sense of, for instance, if we get a new matte liquid lipstick in and it comes in 12 different shades, we grab Ezra up from the warehouse she has these fantastic lips. And so all we'll do is just apply every single lipstick
Right.
and photograph so that people can see here is how this lipstick actually looks on a real person. And people find that so helpful. You know, it's so helpful. It's something that you also can't really get if you walk into a department store. I mean, no one's going to stand there with, you know, all of the lipsticks on arrayed in front of you. I mean, yeah, you've got the testers and you can try them on your hand, but it's to actually see, here's what this looks like on the lips, hugely successful.
Ezra, hey?
Yes,
Good lips.
she does.
The Mick Jagger of Adore Beauty.
She is.
So, love it. You've used the word helpful. So is everything that you do from a content creation point of view about solving a problem that your customers have, about making them more informed?
Yes, that's right. So we approach it a few different ways, and it kind of depends on what the product is. I mean, if it's, you know, a lipstick, you just kind of need to see, okay, well, how do you apply it and how does it look on? But for instance, with skincare, we do quite a lot of education around different ingredients and what they do and what they'll be called if you're looking in a formulation. Yeah, it just kind of depends. I mean, it might be things like comparing two different hair straighteners. So the two big hair straightener brands that we sell a huge amount of are GHD and Cloud9. And so we've got a few posts comparing, okay, well, what's the difference between GHDs and Cloud9s and which one should you get depending on what type of hair you have or what type of looks you want to be able to do. You know, should you buy the short one? Should you buy the regular size? Should you buy the wide one? Or, you know, and then also, too, to actually show people, okay, well, if you want to get waves with it, how do you do that? You know,
Love it.
There's a little tutorial video, all this kind of stuff.
How do you measure all this?
How do we measure it?
Yeah.
Well, the good thing about online is you've got as much analytics as you like.
Well, you have, but so you've written a blog post that says here are the 12 different colours and comparing the swatches of the new lipstick.
Yes.
Do you look for comments? Do you look for website traffic? Is there a call to action? Is there a buy button at the end where you can buy that lipstick?
Yeah, absolutely. So we look at all of those things. So we look at traffic, we look at where the traffic is coming from, and so we can drive traffic to those posts in particular different ways. So you might do it off of Facebook or Instagram or Outbrain or, there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can do it, driving it through our own email newsletter list. And then, of course, you look at conversions.
So email newsletter. So social media is big for you. I've looked at your different platforms. Insta seems to be the big one for you, which is kind of no surprise.
Yep.
Seems to be where you've got the most engagement and traction. Email marketing.
Yep.
You got a big list.
Yes.
Send a link out to this interview if you want to. No pressure. but okay. No. But are you using that effectively? Like, you're using that on a weekly basis? Or?
Oh, yes. Yes, yeah, email still works really well for us.
There you go, millennials. I wouldn't have thought so.
Well, but we don't
kids
just
go email.
We don't just have millennials. I mean, yes, we do have millennials, but we also have plenty of, women my age and older who still do use email and are quite happy. They maybe don't have time to sit and spend hours on Instagram, but if you can deliver them a whole bunch of interesting beauty tips every week, then sure, why not? Fantastic. It's it might not be information that they're otherwise going and seeking out, but it's a good opportunity for them to learn a little bit more than maybe they'd planned.
Kate, it's been a great story. I've got a million more questions, but I think you've shared enough. It's been a good journey so far. I'm feeling like you're just at the start of something, a next big step.
Yeah, it kind of feels like that sometimes. I'm not sure.
If I had you back here in 5 years' time, what are you going to? You got the Adore Beauty department store, or what do you got?
I don't know what we have.
Really?
I know that
Too far away?
It's look, honestly, we don't project out much more than a couple of years. I mean, you can have a plan in terms of when we plan forward, we think more about what do we want to be in the lives of our consumers, and if we can be that daily beauty best friend, however we're delivering that over what channels, then that's I think something to work towards.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks, Kate.
Thank you.
There you go, team. Sage advice from Kate Morris, founder of Adore Beauty. You can find Adore Beauty over at adorebeauty.com.au. Now, coming up, I share my top 3 attention grabbers from that fireside chat with Kate. Plus, I've got another low-cost marketing idea for you in that segment you all love called What Have You Got to Lose? But first, check these guys out. This show is lovingly supported by Fastmail, an insanely secure, ad-free email hosting service for that beautiful business of yours. I asked Fastmail's operations engineer, aka Lead Geek, Rob Norris, what part of Fastmail geeks him out the most?
Push notifications, actually, which sounds kind of ridiculous, but you know, an email arrives and then, you know, my desktop client and my phone both have the email there sort of, you know, within seconds. And I worked on a lot of that, sort of the infrastructure to make all that happen. And so I know how kind of complicated it is. So it gives me a little thrill every time I think, yeah, you know, all of that stuff's working and I'm getting my email like straight away.
Fastmail, where little thrills make a big difference. Packages start from less than $4 a month, and you can grab a free 30-day trial plus 15% off your first year over at fastmail.com/Timbo. Righto, my top 3 attention grabbers from my chat with Kate Morris of Adore Beauty. Thanks to 52ways.biz and Fastmail. Attention grabber number 1. I loved Kate's saying, what do we want to be in the lives of our customers? What a great question to ask as you plan your future marketing strategy. What do we want to be in the lives of our customers? Attention grabber number 2, have the courage to fail. You know, I hear this time and time again from successful business owners. The failures are where the lessons live. Just fail quickly and move on. Attention grabber number 3, having a full-time blogger on staff. Love that. Now, great writers don't come cheaply. I had this conversation with past guest Valerie Koo only earlier this week. So this idea is, of course, for businesses turning over a certain amount. What that amount is, I don't know, you decide. That said, at least have a writer you can call on when you need a brochure or a blog or a sales letter written. Don't do it yourself. You're not a writer. It's a skill. It can make you money. They're the 3 things that grabbed my attention. What grabbed yours? Head over to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com/363 and let me know.
What have you got to lose?
Oh yes, indeedly doodly. It's time for one simple yet effective marketing idea that you can implement today, tonight, straight away. One that won't cost a fortune, that might just generate you more awareness, more inquiry, and ultimately more sales. I call today's idea the employee happiness hack. As of today, I've interviewed 363 successful business owners on the Small Business Big Marketing Show. And almost without exception, one of their biggest frustrations is managing their people, making sure that they love coming to work and that they perform at their peak. Is that sounding familiar? Clearly, one of the best ways to make sure that your business grows is to keep your employees happy. If your employees aren't happy, they aren't loyal. If they aren't loyal, they become a liability. So why not go out of your way, Mr. or Mrs. Business Owner, to make sure your employees have everything they need to be happy and successful in their roles. Here's my 3 steps to having the happiest employees on earth. Step 1, set aside some focused time to list what you think your employees want and need to make them happy and successful in their roles. Reflect on when you were an employee, if that was ever the case, and think, what would you have loved to have received from your boss? But don't stop there. Get out and ask them yourself. Step 2, choose one idea on your list and implement it. Now, that might be a different idea for each employee, like, say, gifting them a book on a topic they love, or it might be an idea that positively impacts all your staff, like bringing in a masseuse for the day. Who doesn't love a good neck massage? Step 3, conduct regular employee happiness surveys with tools such as Tiny Pulse that will ensure you always have a clear sense of where the most important people in your business are at. Now, here's the pro tip. Avoid thinking, stuff them. I pay them. That's enough. That's what bad bosses think. You're not one of those, right? That's my 3 steps to creating employees that wouldn't want to work anywhere else. Head over to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com/363, where you'll find some additional resources, including a link to Tiny Pulse. It's a great tool, along with the ultimate cheat sheet containing 49 employee engagement ideas. And if you'd like help implementing any of the marketing ideas I share in this segment, and there's been 27 so far, go ahead and join the Small Business Big Marketing Club over at crankmymarketing.com, where I'll personally support you daily on your marketing journey. So, what have you got to lose? Well, that almost wraps up another episode of the Small Business Big Marketing Show. Don't stress. All going to be okay. There is plenty of marketing gold coming your way in the weeks ahead, including a chat with a gun real estate agent that nails the close, who absolutely loves selling, and another chat with a bloke who has no fixed address but running a serious business, a business nomad, he calls himself. Hey, do you remember the chat I had with Olympic gold medalist Steve Bradbury? I asked him if he was annoyed that people say he only won an Olympic gold medal because he was lucky.
Mate, I'm the first person to admit I was incredibly lucky to win that. I'm probably the luckiest Olympic gold medalist in history. But that doesn't change the fact that I had to be in position to give myself a chance to win. I competed at 4 Olympics, trained 5 hours a day, 6 days a week for 12 years, and that's not lucky. When you work hard enough for long enough at something, eventually you start to make your own luck.
Never a truer word spoken. You know, most successful business owners I speak to will agree that it takes years to become an overnight success. You'll find that full interview with Steve Bradbury plus hundreds more over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com, or you can subscribe free on your favourite podcast catcher. Hey, I'd love to hear from you. Email me at tim@timreid.com.au or hit me up on Twitter at TimboReid. That's R-E-I-D. Be sure to grab your free seat at Dale Beaumont's 52 Ways events that will be touring Australia and New Zealand in May through to August this year. Simply go to 52ways.biz and grab your seat now, because they are limited and they are filling up fast, as you will see on the website. And check out Fast Mail, private, secure, ad-free email hosting that's lightning fast. You can grab a free 30-day trial plus get a listener exclusive 15% off over at fastmail.com/Timbo. Packages start from just under $4 a month too, so it's pretty damn cheap. Hey, if you love the Small Business Big Marketing Show, why wouldn't you? Then let another business owner know about it. In fact, grab their phone and download it for them. Until next week, I'm Timbo Reid. Thanks for tuning in. May your marketing be the best marketing. Bye for now.